true. That's true. That is true.
There's a
That is true.
difference.
That is true. That is very true.
Bossman says Herman, the Sherman tank.
He nicknamed me that after I went off on you that one night. That's why he nicknamed me that.
Nice.
No, I didn't go off on you. I went off on Canadian Patriot.
You went off on everybody.
That I not gone off on. If you need me to go off on you, just let me know. I'll do it.
You could try it. Go ahead.
Well,
What
not
you
you.
got?
Not
Oh.
you. I've already gone off on you before.
No, I know. And then you usually talk to me about it afterwards, and you're like, "God damn it, that didn't go as well as I expected."
Pretty much. And then you go, all right. And you're like, all right. And then I go and talk about it for 3 or 4 days later, you know?
It's the same thing I do with Jake, to be fair.
What?
Jake will go and talk shit about me for days sometimes.
Well, no, I didn't talk shit about you, but I talked about the situation for 3 days,
Oh, yeah.
3 or 4 days. And I went on April 10th, and you came up and you're like, all right. Like, you really didn't give it any credence at all. You're like,
Yeah,
okay.
I don't try to live in the moment that long.
I know.
I let the moment, because then the moment holds you down. If that makes any sense.
It
If
does.
I'm thinking about shit that's already happened that I'm out of control of,
Yeah.
I'm either thinking about solutions if it's still bothering me in any way, or you know what I mean, something to change it. It doesn't do any good to repeat the same thing over and over again in your head.
Yeah.
It's not going to change.
No. Well, the solution in that case was, for me, was communicating, which I didn't do. So, but I'm crazy. Everyone knows me as a crazy person.
I don't think you're crazy. I think you're pretty normal. I think you're a pretty normal person.
If crazy is normal,
You just speak your thoughts that some people keep in. Yeah.
yeah.
No, I don't think you're crazy. I think everybody at some point has insecure thoughts or something, and it's never that bad. It's just they don't talk about it, or they store it in too long and get crazy about it.
Yeah, they bottle it up. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. April, he's pretty ordinary people. What up, Emily? How you doing? How you doing?
How's everyone doing? Are we live on my channel yet?
We are.
Okay. I can't tell on mobile where we're live at.
Oh, yeah, we are live on my channel, your channel, and Twitch.
All right. Sounds good.
And
I'll
Emily
go.
says Herman's not crazy. Herman is ordinary, like all of us people.
I'm not ordinary, guys. I am extraordinary. Actually, I'm quirky. Okay. I identify as quirky.
I'll let you call yourself extraordinary because you're like ordinary people except a little bit extra.
Exactly. Feel a lot.
Sometimes a lot of bit extra, but that's.
I mean, it's okay. I have to own it. You know, you got to own it.
No, I like it.
Yeah. I mean,
just like I interrupt people and I'm a dick.
Well,
I can live with that.
You kind of are, but I wasn't going to say anything. But
you should say something. Say it every time.
But, you know, one thing I'm not is I am not racist. I mean, I have to ask myself though. Sometimes, am I racist? Though I do have to ask myself that.
I haven't had to ask myself that.
Well, I mean,
it's weird when you have to ask yourself. I think it's weird when you have to ask yourself.
I have to ask myself that, but that question has come to my mind a lot lately.
Or maybe the question you should be asking yourself is the current understanding of racism apply to me? Because I know I'm not racist, but I feel like people are redefining the word a little bit and making it include a lot of other people that might not really fit into that category.
Well, if you're white, you're racist automatically, according to the radical left. So,
if you're white, you can't be discriminated against because you're not a minority. Only minorities can get discriminated against. So, like a white person in Africa could probably be discriminated against. I wonder if it works the same in Africa. Like if there's white people in Africa, there's like white regions of Africa.
Yeah.
And I was wondering if they're usually British colonies, and I wonder if black people are allowed to be racist there, or if it's not recognized.
Yeah, I don't know. There's a reason. By the way, there's a reason I'm bringing up this, Jacob. I think you might know why.
What's that?
Because I did do a movie review of that movie. Am I Racist on my channel? It has almost 800 reviews.
You did. You
I
did.
did.
It's almost like we discussed this. You wouldn't happen to have that video with you to share it with us, would you?
Well, if I get on my computer, then yes, I can.
Because we might have to go over this later.
Okay, well, I can. How about you give me like 2 minutes? Is that the real Jake Hudson? Oh, it's Jake Houston.
It's Boss Man.
No, he doesn't have a wrench. That ain't Jake Hudson.
Oh, all right.
It's the real Boss Man.
It's Jake Houston.
Oh, I gotta go with Boss Man's here.
So, Jacob, to answer your question, are white people discriminated against in Africa? It's horrifying what's going on in South Africa.
That wasn't a question.
It was a statement.
It was a hypothetical situation comparing it to the United States.
It's worse than discrimination.
Because white people aren't no, I'm just saying because white people aren't a minority here. So I had to use an example of a place where white people would be a minority.
Yeah. Well, they were a minority, but were on top, of course, during apartheid, which is absolutely horrible. But now they've been relegated basically to live in camps, and they have no jobs. All their jobs are taken away from them, and the documentary I saw is like the guy's like, "Do you deserve this?" And most people are like, "Yeah, because of what our ancestors did. You know, we deserve this." And I was like, "Wow, that's pretty amazing that they would say that." You know, I thought they could have found a balance, you know, to right the wrongs.
They're living in their white guilt.
Well,
this is why I think a lot of things aren't really based on race. It's about other people coming into our area. It has nothing to usually doesn't have anything to do with skin color. It could have been a black community that came into another black community, and it's the fact that they came in and took over their community. It has nothing to do with. I think humans are just territorial. I don't think it has anything to do with skin color. I think there are racist people. I think that's a real thing, but I think it's weird when people get them mixed up.
And I was busy signing on, so I didn't hear everything you said, but I heard you mention the British, a British colony or something like that. I always assumed it was the Brits that started the apartheid in South Africa. But
that's what I thought too, and I thought there were British communities, is what I was saying. I didn't accredit them to the apartheid though.
I learned it was the Dutch that first went down there.
Oh, still white.
A lot of that.
You gotta understand modern racism. It's all white people.
Oh, I just mean I thought it was the British that started all that, and it wasn't. It was the Dutch. So kind of cool to learn something new, you know.
Yeah. How many different Jakes are they gonna make?
I don't know, 10.
Hello, everyone except Jacob.
That's on my channel. What's up?
That makes me immediately think it's Servap.
It probably. It probably is.
Immediately makes me think it's Jimmy Thunder because he still doesn't like me.
Yeah, it's okay. I don't care who it is. They can come in as long as they're good. Anyway, I'm here, guys. I've been summoned to my computer for a reason. I'm not sure why, but I'm here.
You're gonna show us your video.
Yeah, that's true. That's what I was gonna do. Well, you know, I'll do that if I can pull it up. I don't even know where it is. It's somewhere. So you have to give me longer than 5 seconds.
No hurry, man.
Gonzo says,
I'm rushing.
Gonzo says y'all crackers is talking crazy talk.
Oh, jeez.
Yep.
Yeah, it happens.
Fair enough. I can live with that.
I can too.
Man, I'm so pissed. So I was just doing that fucking live stream earlier. Yeah. And Giggle Pickles was in the chat, and then all of a sudden I go live, and now she's gone. Giggle Pickles made an appearance. She's around. It's first contact I've had with her in I don't know how long. What up, A-Love?
Who are you talking?
talking about white people being racist. Did you come to join us?
See, Jacob, this is something that I said back in the early 90s when all this, the word racism was getting dropped every time. And Spike Lee said this too. He goes, you guys are using the word racist when you should be using the word prejudice. Because there are people that are prejudiced that aren't necessarily racist. And I mean, there's situations that I'm prejudiced. You know, if I'm walking, and I don't care who they are, if I'm walking down the street and there's a group of gangster looking people, I'm crossing the street, man. It's not racist.
It's I don't know. There's a what was the equivalent I used before? It was a dog attack one. Say you were a little kid and you got bit in the face by a dog, and then all of a sudden you just didn't like dogs anymore. Would you be a speciesist for that because of your anecdotal evidence that your bad experience is a judgment on all dogs?
I don't know.
You know what I mean? That's what I think about when it comes up. All right, Herman's got his video queued up.
I got it queued up, everybody. Hold on, I'll bring it up. Hold on, let's see. Put it. I look sexy in this video. Just warning everybody. All right, everyone ready?
Yeah.
Make sure it's got the sound on. All right, let me do a test.
I was just thinking the same thing, Gonzo. Hold on one second. I was just thinking the same thing, Gonzo. Fucking boss man shouldn't have been wearing that dress when he was walking down the street. He shouldn't have been dressed so skimpy if he didn't want to get picked on.
That's true.
I've told him that before. He's got to watch that provocative wear.
Hold on,
when he's
Jacob.
walking down the streets.
I have to wear that dress though to keep all the women off me. I get mugged when I walk down the street.
That's what happens. It's hard out there on the streets.
Heck yeah. It definitely is.
Exactly. April knows.
All right, here we go.
All right, guys. All right. Oh, how do I do this? Hang on.
You know him as Kyle or Gator.
Oh, hold on. Back
Hey,
up.
so everybody, I got this guy right here. You guys probably know him as Kyle or Gator or
Gator
or whatever it is. But we're about to see Am I Racist? I'm seeing it for the second time. He's seen it for the first time. Kyle, what are you looking forward to in this movie without knowing about the movie? You saw the trailer and said it doesn't make sense, but can you tell everybody out there on this vlog in a brief moment what you're looking for in this movie?
I'm just hoping he said it's supposed to be funny, so
Hilarious.
at least
It's hilarious.
funny.
Right.
But the word I am racist. It's like the unusual name for a movie name. That's like, are you racist?
It makes you dig deep down, Kyle. You have to dig deep down.
You deep down?
You gotta dig deep down and evaluate yourself and decenter your whiteness.
Oh,
You gotta do a lot of stuff. Kyle, let's do it real quick before we see the movie. Let's just decenter our whiteness.
You're white for a moment.
I think you're a 5 right now going into this movie.
Let me just stop this real quick and explain this. This is before we saw the movie. It gets worse. It gets better. Trust me, it gets better. So here we go.
All right.
Okay.
I'll evaluate you as we go along in the evening. But everybody, we're about to see Am I Racist? This is my best friend Kyle right here. Tim, don't be offended if you see this vlog. But anyway, I don't care, Timothy, even if you are offended. But we're about to go see the movie, and I'm looking forward to it for the second time. This time, I'm going to go inside and I'm going to pee, and then I'm hoping not to have to pee during the movie again because I missed a really great part of the movie last time. So, and Kyle, we got to stay for the end credits because those were hilarious as hell.
Okay.
Heck, I mean,
yeah, it's always important to pee before.
Anyway, all right, everybody, we're off. All right, everybody, we're back. Kyle and I just got done seeing Am I Racist? I saw it once before, and so I don't have too many more thoughts on it other than it's really, for me, it's kind of a thing that's kind of embarrassing to the radical left. I'll say the radical left should be very embarrassed about the contents of this movie and their role in this movie. And what I mean by that, and I'll let Kyle get to this, I'm going to make this very brief, is that they say that if you're white, you're racist automatically. I don't think that's true at all. In fact, for me, it's not true at all. I am not racist, never have been. I was raised not to be racist, and I followed that. I'm not a racist person at all. Now, I hate to say it, there are some people that are. And that's what needs to be acknowledged. Not everybody's racist. It's automatically racist. It's automatically racist. No, that's not true at all. Yes, there's racism again. We have to acknowledge it. We have to hopefully do better moving forward and tackle racism. But we cannot say you're racist because you're this or you're racist because you're that. What do you think, Kylie? What do you think to add there?
I feel this movie taught a valuable lesson. Like we're all the U.S. is built on a melting pot together. I feel like we're all here together, and I feel like it sets a wrong image of saying because you're white, you're automatically going to be considered racism already. And if you're black, you're going to be targeted because you're targeted that way. The thing is that I think I treat everybody equally because I feel like there's an opportunity for everybody to be treated. And sometimes people feel like that's the way, but I think that the idea behind it is to help understand that we're not there to put people down. We want to help fellowship people together because we're all one together. I would rather consider you as I'm not going to just look at your color or whatever. I'm going to look at your personality. Hey, our personality is more important. Let's say my personality, I'd rather treat you, hey, you're a nice dude, and I'm going to just talk to you like the normal person.
Yeah.
And a normal person would say, I'm not going to, hey, white person, I just want to talk to you right now. But I'm like, that's the image of this movie trying to say, oh, look at, you're white, or you're black, or you're Hispanic, or whatever, or German, or Nazi, or whatever. You just, that we put that label on there, I feel like we need to eliminate the labels. I feel like we need to embrace how can we be a good character? How can we be a good character in life? How can we build the relationship with others? That's more important, I feel like, versus talking about the hate crime. I feel like the media has spread the knowledge of truth incorrect. I feel like there's always a room for improvement, but we have made progress.
Absolutely.
I feel progress has came along the way.
Yeah, we definitely have. We definitely have made progress, and that's why I was going to say. I'm glad you mentioned that, Kyle, because I was going to mention that media. The media is
Hey, pause it for a second.
all these stereotypes.
All right.
Oh,
1 second. Yeah.
It's Kyle?
Kyle.
Okay.
Yeah. Kyle.
All right. Kyle's going to be our new co-host.
He should be. He should be.
He
should be.
I was going to say, Kyle's
Yeah.
on point. I like what Kyle said.
Yeah.
No, that was good.
Yeah. And by the way, he's not related to Angel, but he does have autism similar to Angel. So
I like that he answered it more honestly than that. I don't know who that guy is on the right, but he was trying to laugh about it and make jokes about the left. And
some douchebag. I don't know. I don't really got it. But
no. It's a really good take though.
You want me to keep going, or do you want me to stop it?
Oh yeah. Keep going.
Okay. Let me just say this real quick though, before you guys watch on. We actually talked about this for like 25, 30 minutes because he was kind of fired up. Now, I'll, in full disclosure, tell you he was also fired up because I was going to play a prank. I was going to pretend to go to a drive-through and tell them that I was blind, and he was pissed about that, apparently, which, I mean, I understand he's pissed. I mean, it was supposed to be something funny, but anyway, he was mad at me for that, so I think he took it out on the movie. But anyway, he was very pissed in many ways.
I think the worst thing about racism is the victimhood mentality that people feel like they have to live in. I think that's not good. I would hope everybody knew that not everybody in the world is after you or hates you because of the color of your skin.
Right.
Like it's not the majority of people. It never has been, and it won't be again.
Right.
Like that's the America I want to live for. Like where people feel comfortable with their own skin. It's scary to have to worry about something else your whole life. I feel the same way about women and feeling like they're in danger or something walking down the street. Like it's the same thing for me. Like I feel like all humans have basic human rights, and that's and then everything just gets. I like how he said the media kind of pitches it the wrong way because if they call everything racist, then you start questioning what racist is. And I don't know. It's a good take. I liked his take on it.
Yeah, and just real quick before I start, I have to add too. Saying a man was brutally beaten today. It has to be a black man. They have to put the emphasis on the race of the person, which the media does to sensationalize it.
It doesn't necessarily mean it was a crime based on race.
No,
it just means that they injected race, like they felt like you had to know about the race because it was going to make you feel a different way about it. And
exactly.
That's why. Yeah.
Exactly. And April, we'll get to your thoughts in a second after the video plays. But anyway, because I'm curious what April has to say too. But here back to the douchebag on the left over there that wants to talk about stuff. Apparently,
a black man was attacked today. They have to make it clear that it was a black man. They can't just say a man was attacked. They have to say, and then they have to say, oh, it was probably a hate crime. And it may or may not.
I'm consistent. I'm telling you,
is to blame for this. And I'm not just talking about the liberal media. I'm just talking about media in general. They sensationalize the crap out of all these things. It's we have a long way to go, but we have come a long way. Like you said, Kyle, we have come a long way from where we used to be. We used to be really like everybody. Well, not everybody, but most people were racist back in the days of slavery. And sadly, again, I have to acknowledge that there are people that are racist. There are people that are racist. That's sad for them, but I'm not one of them. I know my friend over here, Kyle's not one of them. I know many people who are not racist. Okay, there's prejudice and then there's racist. Those are two different things. If you want to, if you want to split hairs, go ahead and split hairs with that. But those are two different things. We are a melting pot. We all are immigrants. We have family members or ancestors that are immigrants. My family came from both Greece and Lebanon, respectively, or Lebanon and Greece. So we are a country of immigrants. So to say, oh well, this person's not allowed in this country, why not? Everyone should have opportunity in this country, no matter their race, religion, sexual orientation, doesn't matter. But the media has made it so. It's made it like, oh well, hey, we got to report on this because this is what people want to hear. Like I saw those news clips in this movie, and I'm thinking, you're fueling the hate. The media is fueling the hate, Kyle. Do you have any thoughts on that? Any thoughts on that at all?
I feel like the media has diminished the hard work that we put together. I feel like it put a bad taste in our mouth. I feel like it has made things a lot worse than what it seems to be. Like there's not a bigoted truth about it. Like I feel like you're trying to say that we have not made progress. So it's still happening. That's what it's saying based on the media's point of view. But I think what we need to do is decentralize ourselves from the media rather than let's talk about the true stories that are actually there and actually talk about how we overcome the challenges of what we have done. And even though there may be that 1% or 3%, they're still going to be there, but we just learn how to embrace it all together versus talking about the hate crime that's been mentioned on the media. Because the hate crime is not so true. Like statistically, we have improved over time. I know we're not perfect, but we are making progress. Yes. Progress is more important than talking about there's still crimes out there. I think the end of the day is that we can be a good fellow being together because at the end of the day, we're good people. And regardless of my color or whatever, I look at you, how have you been a good person in my life? That's more important to me than your race. That's the defining point of what media misses a lot. Who are you as a character?
Exactly. Yeah. And let me make one final point. We're gonna kind of wrap up this. We're gonna turn this into a movie review. I was gonna actually include this on one of my vlogs, but now we're not gonna do that. We're actually just gonna be a separate movie review, everybody. So hopefully you guys just do this. I want to say I'm not just targeting the liberal media. I'm targeting all media. All media sensationalizes the crap out of everything that happens. It's this, it's that, it's this person, that person. It puts people against each other. We should be together, not apart. And the radical, let me say this again, the radical left, the radical wokest leftists that think there's 9 billion genders, those are the people that I'm targeting. People that think that we're all racist. Because I was born white, I'm racist. No, I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that. You have any final thoughts to finish this off, Kyle?
I am Hispanic. I'm white. I am everything together.
Oh, by the way, we're friends, by the way, everybody, if you guys don't know that out there.
We're friends.
I don't look at Kyle for him being Hispanic and me being, a white Lebanese Greek man. Like, what's...
I see it as we're brothers. We're united together.
Honestly, in all seriousness, I'm gonna shake his hand.
Brothers that stand up together.
We've been friends for 19 years, right, Kyle?
Yes.
You know,
Fellowship is more important.
Yeah.
How can we fellowship each other?
even though he's a 49er fan and I'm a Seahawks fan, I do have to say that.
We may have some rivalry, but we have good love rivalry. Okay.
I'm gonna throw up being in this car, Kyle.
Oh,
I'm being
okay.
honest, but anyway, I just had to throw a small thing in there. But yeah, we're friends, even though he's wearing Alaska hat.
But we come from every state, from every country. We name it all.
Definitely. Well, Kyle, thank you for doing this review with me and seeing with me. Everybody, please give your thoughts on this movie if you guys have seen it. If you guys haven't, that's okay. Don't be scared of it. Don't be scared of seeing this movie and confronting. It is a very uncomfortable topic of talking about race. Matt Walsh may have used some humor to confront it, but it's not funny. It's not humorous. It's a very uncomfortable topic. It is uncomfortable to talk about race. It's not easy, but thank you again, Kyle, for being here and watching this movie with me. And I have to say, thank you for buying my ticket too, because you did. It's not a joke. But everybody, thank you so much for watching. If you guys like this, please hit the thumbs up button and please comment in the comment section below as well as subscribe, hit that bell. But I really want to hear your guys' thoughts on this. Thank you, everybody, and take care.
You're so cheap, Herman, making him buy your ticket.
I bought his food. It was $23. Okay. the ticket.
Who buys food at the theater? Is that where you spend it?
Oh gosh, another movie. Okay, sorry. Another thing was playing in my ear there for a second. I thought something.
No, you're good. Did you buy food at the theater for him?
Yes, it was $23
Yeah, that's where you messed up. You could get $23 worth of food anywhere else and bring it to the theater.
I know, but we didn't have anything to bring it in. We didn't have anything to bring it in.
Pocket snacks.
So I got Jack in the Box tacos shoving down your pants.
That would have been
Exactly.
awesome, actually. That would have been actually really cool. I mean, trust me, I missed it there. But anyway, April, you have any thoughts on anything here? I love to hear people's thoughts.
Actually, somebody in the chat was asking what April was doing. I was wondering if she saw a raccoon. That's how you pull the light out.
I heard something moving in the ceiling. So
Yeah, I wouldn't hold that up near your mouth, though. It was.
well,
You had your head turned sideways in that thing like that. Didn't
I
look
could
right.
tell it was a light. Get your mind out of the gutter, Squawk.
Oh, boo! Lost man.
and really,
This
that's a little
man.
too, and that's really a little too dark.
Eh.
Talking about race.
There we go. You're right. You get perfect. That was perfectly on point.
That's a wait. To be honest, my head's kind of jumbled at the moment, so I
No worries.
can't form a clear thought. Yeah, my brain. I'm
No
having
worries.
multiple brain farts at the moment. So,
It happens. No worries. Well, maybe we could talk offline if when your brain's not as brain farty, but that's okay. Hello, by the way, Maria. Hello, TD Comedy Parody. Hello to all the people I'm missing in my chat.
Dromar Maria. Hello, Dromar Maria.
Dromar Maria, exactly. We're just hanging out. I saw Boss Man. I saw the sexy Boss Man there for a second. I was like, whoa, dang.
That's right.
I was going crazy for a second. Are you still in West Virginia?
I'm trying to
Yeah.
make a
Nice.
trying to make a clear thought.
No worry, no, it's
No,
okay.
'cause,
Take your time.
I agree with what was said earlier about the difference between prejudice and racist, and I feel like we've kind of melted that together and just called it racist.
hmm
And I mean, everybody knows, I stay quiet until I feel like you are jumping on a particular group of people, and then I talk and stuff. Jake knows that from, a handful of times on his stream when people decide to say certain things about certain people. And I was like, yeah, learn more before you speak on it.
Right.
The way I interpret
know?
the word racist is that you dislike or hate an entire
Yeah,
race.
like,
Yeah.
and the thing that kind of bugs me, even when it comes to politics, when people, say, say their piece about a particular side, I go, at the end of the day, both sides are not kosher. They're not, they're both, even though they're put in everybody has a divide when it comes to left or right, um, Democrat or Republican. At the end of the day, both sides are doing exactly what they're accomplishing what they want. They want the division.
No, it's
All right?
one
They
party.
want you to go, that's extreme, whatever. That's extreme, that. At the end of the day, they're both fighting. They're both not accomplishing what they said that they wanted to do for the country. It said
That's because they're one party with two wings. It's called the money
exactly
party.
right.
So,
And,
so if the media, so if the media is describing prejudice as racism, and this is kind of what I was talking about, is I think it's just humans being territorial. I don't think it has anything to do with the color of people's skins. Is that what you guys are calling? What's it called? Prejudice. They don't like people because they're different. Is that what you're calling that?
I think what April was trying to
What
say
did you mean
was.
by What did you
No,
mean by
go ahead.
prejudice?
I don't know.
No, what April was saying was, I think.
I want to understand people's difference between racism and prejudice, because we were using that example. I was just saying, what's everybody's example of, like, what would be prejudice to you?
Prejudice, I want to say, is more. I mean, both things come from an uneducated or ignorant place or a place of fear of another group of people. And I feel like prejudice, I feel, and if I'm right in my thoughts,
There's
I
not
think
a right
racism.
answer. There's not a right answer though, A-Love. It's
No,
just how
I
you
know,
feel
but
about
like
it.
I'm just trying to so
I get
I'm
you.
making a clear, yeah. Prejudice, I see as more of, maybe that falls more under like stereotyping groups of people and, again, falling in the ignorance of, all Spanish people are like this, all Black people are like this. And so versus racist, I feel like in kind of to tap into what you were saying earlier, if white people can be racist. I think you said something, I don't remember. But obviously we have the 3Ks, the Nazis, and whatever, and like I would put those in the categories of racist groups, racist, like they, and maybe falling into what you were saying about it being a territorial thing, and a dominance thing. Like, those groups believe that they're the dominant race. They believe that they're the dominant group of people.
Supremacy is the key term to those groups.
Right. I said, but I feel like they fall,
and that's where I think racism and prejudice goes a little different, is because supremacists put themselves over others because they think they're less of people.
Yeah.
I don't know. I do think it's a very territorial thing, and I don't necessarily because I do think racism is a thing. I do think there are racist people in the world that hate like other people, but it's not because they're taking their jobs or something like that. That would be more territorial. People coming into your area and taking how we're feeling about illegal immigration.
Well, and I have to laugh.
That's not an
I almost have to laugh at the, especially, I'm going to say us white people that go, they're coming and taking our jobs. I go, but you didn't want that job to begin with.
Right.
Like.
Oh, I agree with that premise as well. But what I'm saying is, so say people were against illegal immigration.
Yeah.
What I wouldn't call them racist because they're against illegal immigration, because that's a blanket statement, not talking about a specific race of people. But a lot of people will be called racist for being against illegal immigration, and it's just like that's not what that is. That's a territory thing, and maybe they don't think. But what's up?
You're so fucking loud.
Okay, I'm sorry. I didn't know it was that loud. Okay, I'm sorry. I didn't know it was that loud. All you have to do is let me know. I'm sorry. Okay.
You're aware of what you're doing.
I have headphones on and I wouldn't. No, I'm sorry. All right, I probably have to get offline. Or I have to mute. You guys can keep going. No, you guys are good. I have to mute for a minute.
Okay. Oh. Okay, no worries. So one thing I just wanted to add real quick to what you were saying, April, was I feel exactly the same way. Prejudice for me is more about the stereotypes. Like Boss Man said earlier in the stream, he was saying, you see somebody who's, I guess, a gangster looking person. I'm gonna do the air quotes here because I don't want to really offend anybody. You see somebody, you're gonna automatically in your head think, oh my gosh, that person's gonna harm me. That's because of the stereotype. It's not even, maybe it's not how you feel necessarily, but for me, it's more about the stereotypes, and that's why I try to make a point. Now, I made a clumsy point in the video of saying there's a difference between racism and prejudice, but I didn't really expound on it. So that was probably an error that I made. Probably confused a lot of people who watched the video. Because
let's look at the definition of both words real quick. So under prejudice, it's preconceived opinion that is not based on reason or actual experience. Prejudice against people from different backgrounds. So
that kind of falls into like what I was saying, is like falls into like the prejudice falls more into the stereotypical idea that we have of certain groups. Like it's stereotypical that only Spanish people break into cars. It's stereotypical that only black people shoot pew pew each other. And it's stereotypical to think that only white people do A, B, and C. Mm-hmm. And so, but at the end of the day, each group does it. It's just not highlighted. And when you go back to mainstream media, the mainstream media will play the agenda of what we believe the stereotypes really are.
Yeah.
So like if you already believe or you already taught that this particular group are terrorists or whatever, no matter, you're already thinking that they're a bad, you come across somebody, you already think they're a bad person because of what because what you were told about that particular group, that stereotype was what you've seen the most, whether it was in the media or TV or movies or whatever. Because that all plays, even entertainment plays into that.
Right.
Versus racism.
And hold on, let me jump up in for a second. No, I just went and apologized. It's really hard because I haven't been that loud in a while. I don't like waking her up.
That's our.
being that loud.
That's my fault, Jacob.
No,
Blame,
it's
blame
me.
me.
I get excited. No, it's me. I get excited and talk loud.
Yeah.
I was just, no, I just wanted to make sure everybody knew. Yeah,
So
no, I was going and seconding up.
So the word racist, it's a noun and an adjective. I'll read the noun first because it kind of hits on what I was saying. A person who is prejudiced against or antagonistic toward people on the basis of their membership in a particular racial or ethnic group, typically one that is a minority or marginalized. He has been targeted by vicious racists online. So to me, a racist is someone who just dislikes an entire group of people or hates it.
Right.
So
And does not want to learn about the other group, doesn't want
yeah,
to know the truth, doesn't want to.
yeah,
They've already made their decision that this group of people are bad, inferior, or don't fit their personal life and narrative.
yeah. And then the adjective says characterized by or showing prejudice, discrimination, or antagonism against a person or people on the basis of their membership in a particular racial or ethnic group, typically one that's minority or marginalized. So it's basically the same thing, just one's the noun and one's the adjective. So
And if you want to, we're talking a little bit about Africa or South Africa and whites or blacks. I guess the best reference we can use with that is if anyone's followed Trevor Noah, the comedian. He was also the Daily Show host for a little while. I mean, he would a lot of his comedy stems from the apartheid times because he was born out of a mixed relationship.
mm,
And he even did an interview with his grandmother before she passed away, and they talked about like what was their experience and what and how they had to treat him because technically he was illegal in his own country because he wasn't black and he wasn't white. He was considered mixed. And if I remember correctly, the story that he had growing up is, and it was part of his comedy show too, is when he was with his mother growing up as a kid, or with his parents, his father would have to walk across the street because he was white, and she would walk with him. But if the police came by, she would let go of his hand and pretend he wasn't hers because he was more light skinned than she was, and and because he was like, yeah, he's not mine. I don't know. And even the interview with his grandmother, they talked about how they would have to hide him because if they found out a mixed kid was living in the house of a colored person, or probably even a white person, they would take the mixed kid away and put them in an orphanage with other mixed kids. So
yeah.
to keep that separation. And so, but to hear like their experience with the as far as race is concerned, because South Africa, I guess, as far as my understanding, and I'm ignorant to a lot of it as well, but South Africa was a lot of white people too, and they, and just like America was the dominant race.
Yeah. Definitely. We have somebody in the background. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know who it is.
I think that's TD. Well, that's probably TD comedy from the chat, my chat, but I don't know who they are. I've never had them on panel, but
yeah, I've never had them on before either. So I don't know. I don't know.
Let's
That's a
risk it.
good. That's a good
Let's-
question.
Let's risk it.
All right, go ahead.
Hi.
Hello,
Hi.
TD. How are you?
Hello, hello.
I think I know you from Corey's comedy show. I'm pretty sure.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I know.
How are
I know,
you?
Corey. Doing well.
Yeah.
Doing all right. How are you?
Good. I'm okay. I hope you don't get like a copyright strike because I have like a restaurant and they're
No, I'm not. I'm not worried. I'm not worried about that, TD. Go ahead.
Okay,
Keep-
good. Well, I figured
I'm not worried about it.
I'd pop on because
Thank
it's way
you,
too much
Keebler.
to type. So,
There you
Keebler.
Yep,
Thanks, Keebs. I
So
love Keebler.
Keebler's the one that gave us that video of
Thank you.
Lobo earlier.
Yeah,
Oh,
thank you.
nice.
Thank
She's
you. Thank you
awesome.
for that. Thank you for that, Keebler. I appreciate that.
Yeah, how are you, Keebler, by the
Christy.
way? Are you doing okay? I know that she's struggling with the generator, trying to get a generator and stuff and everything, so I hope she's doing all right.
Yeah. So, what are your thoughts for tonight, TD?
Well-
Do you have any thoughts at all on the movie review, on racism?
I really liked it. I really like Gator. I think he has a really sweet disposition. I think he's very genuine, and we need more of that in our world. But
Yeah.
I also, I taught a human behavior class for the social work department at Youngstown State University in Ohio. So I did a lot of theories on oppression and all this stuff. So basically, like, I know that you guys outlined, I think I totally agree with you, Herman. Like, I think the prejudice is more like a preconceived idea, maybe, or maybe something that like you might not even know that you have a bias about, but it kind of infiltrates in some way, not bad or good. Sometimes it could be like neutral. Sometimes it could even be like a good kind of prejudice. But then too, I think racism has a connotation that deals with like power and maybe status, if that makes sense. But like, for instance, like I always use like the dumb blonde. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Did you hear my analogy earlier? Like, if somebody was to be, say as a young kid, they're attacked by a dog, and then all of a sudden they don't like dogs anymore. It's anecdotal, but
I was bit by a dog, and I yeah, exactly.
But are you now afraid of dogs forever, or do you?
It depends on your exposure. I think I'm a therapist too, so I think it depends on your other exposures after that event, or how like even maybe your caregivers or your kind of like family of origin kind of helps you identify that, okay, not all dogs are like this. Sometimes things just happen. I mean, in my case, I got bit by a Lhasa Apso. So it's like, it wasn't a pit bull. Like people, like there's that, kids might just have that notation just because of, okay, well, people use pit bulls to fight. So it's like, okay, they must be tough. They must be mean, where it's like, that's not really a, it's not the racist kind of stigma against it, but it's kind of like, well, that's what they've heard, maybe. And then maybe there's a socioeconomic status too. Like maybe there's a lot of stray dogs in a bad neighborhood, and maybe some of them would bite because they were acting out of desperation, or they were hungry or trained that way, whatever. So if that makes sense, but that's a really good analogy too.
And that's where I think there's a huge difference between racism and that. Like, that's
true.
I do
And
think
racism
that
is taught. Racism is definitely taught.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I was about to add that. I wanted to add this real quick. I'm glad you said that, TD, because just like a dog can be taught to be mean, somebody can be taught to be racist. If their grandfather was racist, or their mother or father, or somebody in the family was racist.
That's why, like, I look at like the politicians, or even the people that speak out about, from like in the political sense, or like from Trump or to whatever, or some of them, they're like, we need to go back to how it used to be, or whatever. And I go, and at first I go, they must be, from the 50s or whatever. And I'm going, some of these people the same age as me, and they're talking about going back to how it was back in the
backwards.
Like even some of the politicians that are in office, that you see that, when they show that, they're doing something that is obvious, blatantly either prejudice or racist, or the meaning to
old school thinking. It's
right?
kind of ignorance.
And I look at the person and I go, that guy. I'm 48. And like at first, you think it's the older generation that is trying to go back to the 50s and 60s, and they go, that guy's only 48, or that guy's only whatever, and I'm going, either your family grew up that way, and you're keeping the tradition alive, Or like, how
But
do you
sometimes, yeah,
have that 50 that mentality of the 50s and 60s or whatever?
true.
You know,
April,
And
can I
sometimes it
jump?
takes a
Can I
village.
jump in
But
for a
yeah,
second?
yeah,
So with the statement of we want to go back to this time, I think you're implying that they want to do like racism from that time when they could just be talking about economic prosperity. That doesn't mean that they want to bring back
but I'm not even
slavery or
talking
anything.
about.
I think they would boldly. I'm just saying. I think they would boldly tell you that if
yeah. Well, not necessarily as a
if
politician. There's a lot
no,
of
maybe not as a
underlying.
politician. I'm just saying, I think there's a difference, but like there has to be a level of implication if you're saying that because they say they want to go back to this time, that they also want to do everything bad in that time.
Well, I think too. Maybe she might. You correct me if I'm wrong, but sometimes I know that I mean, all the in Ohio, like all the ads are pertaining to abortion around here, and it's like, okay, what are we? Like my daughter says, she's 16. She said my nana had more rights than I could have if this happened. You know what I mean? So like maybe that kind of component. I'm not sure if that's what
Yeah,
she was
no, that's kind of
implying.
what I'm saying. Just like I'm not talking about a specific race, but like even all the female issues that are coming up in the politics and are in the government, and,
Right.
and people like you know, like and you want to bring religion, like part of it. They want to put the religion part of it and go, it's against God. It's not Christian. It's not whatever. And then
It's
it
because
tries, it tries
because
to.
it's not her body, it's the baby's body.
Well, yeah, it's a joint.
That's why.
I don't consider abortion a basic human right.
And there's so many other factors involved. It's not just one simplistic individualist. You know what I mean? Like there are so many other things that are involved, and
Yeah.
it's not.
No,
Yeah,
I think there should be exceptions
absolutely.
Oh, I
for
do too.
mother's health, baby's health, and extenuating circumstances, but that's less than 1% of abortions that are performed. The reason that abortions are bad in my eyes are because people are using them as a form of birth control now. And I think
Well,
people
not since we
should
have Plan
be
B.
more
Sometimes,
responsible.
yeah, they've gone down a
I
lot.
don't think
But
of
yeah,
I don't think of Plan B as a full abortion.
no, God, no,
I
no.
do think of
Yeah,
that as a way
preventative,
of
a second preventative
preventative
measure.
action.
Yeah, yeah. Sometimes there's
And some heavy religious people will think of that as bad as well. I don't think of
just
that as
stopping a
bad. I think of
process. It's if you like if you take your birth control consistently without like going off of, then you could prevent the period. It's just like the same kind of concept, you know, where
but
you're just kind of
I think I think it's almost rude to women to say that abortion should be um, a form of birth control for the simple fact that saying that they almost didn't understand that sex would lead to a pregnancy.
right, and that's
That's
the thing
almost a
too.
slap
Like
in the
maybe our
face to women. It's
curriculum,
almost a slap, and that's why I say those
yeah,
exceptions. That's why the first thing I make is the exceptions. Like
absolutely,
when
yeah.
it's unwilling sex or
Sure. And
something
a
bad.
baby coming from
Or
a product of rape is not going to have quality of life, you know, like probably,
exactly.
yeah, yeah. But
Well,
I
exactly,
also
and you
think our
never know.
curriculum needs to change in schools, and, you know, state curriculums need to change and include a lot of that because, I mean, it's just science too, you know, like, and you have to be a realist, like kids are doing it, you know, except for my daughter.
Well,
My daughter is actually really good, but
I just wish we could get to some kind of like common acceptance. Like even if we can't decide a term for when abortion is acceptable, can we at
mhm.
least put a limit on when it's not acceptable? Like
Sure. Or
there's
maybe you get fined
there's at
after so
least
many or something like that,
no,
or, yeah.
there's at least 3 states that you can have an abortion up to 9 months and after
Oh, like, really?
in the
I didn't
United
even know
States.
that.
So that's after a pregnancy.
Sure.
There's 3 states in the United States, and because we took down Roe v. Wade, those states have the right to do that.
Yeah, like what about
So
mandatory
it does
classes
go
if
back.
you decide to get
It
one or
does go back to the
something?
state.
Yeah,
Yeah, it does go back to the states with taking out Roe v. Wade, but it shows you which states are really extreme about this, and they
right,
don't want to. On whatever side, whether it's they want no
right.
abortions or they want abortions up to 9 months and after, which is insane, and nobody
I
can
mean,
find
nine
the
months and
middle
after
ground.
you're killing the baby. I mean, like, I mean, it's obvious,
Yeah.
you know, like it's yeah. I mean, when someone could adopt that baby, I don't know. But also, stem cells is a huge thing. So, do they want those stem cells? You know what I mean? It's like it's kind of crazy.
Oh
It
yeah,
gets pretty crazy. Yeah.
yeah.
But
When you
we
start
might have
talking
got
about
off track a
sales,
little
yeah.
bit. But that happens. I'm ADHD. It happens sometimes. But But definitely, I think, yeah, I think the position of power to me is one thing that sticks out of like inequality of like, you know, well, they're less than because I'm this and they're this or something, you know. But it's easy to say too. I'm a white girl that teaches hip hop dance fitness, so I actually get like the good prejudice where sometimes I have guys that say like, I've never known a white girl to move like that, and I'm like, thank you so much, you know. So I guess there could be positive prejudices too sometimes.
There we go. I'm HDD. I'm HD. You might be TD. I'm HDD, which is
Nice.
Herman deficit disorder.
Oh, that's nice.
It's rough. It's rough. I've been living with it for a while. I've been
Me
living
too.
with
I
it
have
my
all
whole
the
life.
letters. I'm a therapist with all the letters.
There we go.
I have more thoughts before breakfast than most people have all day, and then I'm just like stuck with them. Yeah.
So I have to ask you something, TD, as a therapist, because I've been through therapy before.
Mm-hmm.
Do you yourself have a therapist to deal with all the shit you have to deal with?
I do. I mean, I haven't gone recently, but I actually, I mean, I lost my parents last year within 6 months of each other.
Sorry to hear that.
Thank you. But obviously, I mean, how can I be a firm believer if I didn't go myself? Although it's hard to find a therapist for a therapist, because it's, you know, we just know a lot, and we, you know, you have to full disclosure and trust that full disclosure. But I think everybody needs stress management, and we all have more issues than Sports Illustrated. So like in my eyes, everybody needs like a non-biased kind of like maybe point of view or a way to manage that stress, or even to goal set and, you know, have an accountability coach. I think that's healthy too.
Yeah.
So, I mean, my clientele is a little bit different right now because I just got hired. I have my own practice, but I did just get hired at a jail. So I work at a jail in like Youngstown. So it's definitely a unique kind of position. So, I mean, I have to be like responsible for putting people on suicide watch, taking them off suicide watch, stuff like that. So it gets very deep, but it also gets very, you know, rewarding when you have somebody that maybe comes to jail and they just didn't even know about how good therapy was or how it can help them. And like, wow, this feels really great. My family puts a fun and dysfunctional. Why didn't I talk about this before? You know? So
that's a whole other.
Yes, definitely. So definitely. So no, I'm sorry, April. Please finish. I think I interrupted you. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Okay, I was going to say, so I have a lot of questions now because, you know, I always want to get into therapy, not get into therapy myself, but so therapists have a full disclosure thing with their clients, correct?
Oh yeah, I'm not allowed to violate confidentiality except for, and it's child abuse. If they say they're going to hurt themselves and have a plan, or hurt someone else and have a plan. So I've had women that say, I feel like I'm going to kill my husband. I'm like, well, how would you do it if you could? You know, it's like, just because you say that doesn't mean you're going to do it. But then if you have something planned out, you have to bring the confidentiality. And it used to be elder abuse, but now they don't care about the old people. They're like, it's fine. You don't have to like break confidentiality for that.
But when you're talking, so say you're talking to your therapist, you have to be vague about what you bring up. Like, so say something affected you in a therapy session with a client. Can you mention that without mentioning the client's name, or do you have to keep it confident? I was just wondering about that because, like, if someone tells you, hey, you know, I'm suicidal, or hey, you know, I'm feeling like this today.
Right. I mean, it's good to consult. I'd say probably consult without your own therapist. You know what I mean? Like, but that's just my opinion. So you could like secrets keep you sick. If you're not able to fully be vulnerable, then what are you withholding? And then are you able to fully like either heal or progress or, you know, make changes? So that's how I feel. But also too, I mean, and not every system's perfect. So you might have like the couple that, I mean, I recently had a client that she was recently widowed and she was dating a guy, and he's a clear, like, I know about this guy because I had another client dating him pretty much around, there's some gray area. I could not say like, hey, he's dating someone else. He's a clear alcoholic. She's like, he doesn't even drink. I'm like, that's wrong. He's an alcoholic. She's like, he has a great house. I'm like, oh, that's wrong. He's homeless. He said he worked for this one place. No, he works at a McDonald's by that place.
Right.
So it's like, but so all I could do was meet her where she was and say like, she's like, I don't know, I'm getting some red flags. My sister, I'm like, well, let's dive into those a little bit more. What do you think about doing like a little background check or something? So I'm able to like, but I had to like put that vault in there and like stick it, you know, where I wanted to be like, girl, get away. Because she just got, she was with a man for 35 years and he passed away, and like she's in a vulnerable state and a good person. I'm like, I don't want her. She's such a freaking liar. You know, I'm like, are you kidding me? Out of all the people in this town that like they have to be dating the same person. I'm like, this one gets around, man.
Yeah,
Like,
right.
dang. Yeah. But
Yeah.
it's hard sometimes. I'm going with a lot of secrets when I get cremated or whatever. And I've got some politicians that have like substance abuse issues because I'm an addiction counselor too, and
Right.
it's I have a lot of stuff in this vault up here.
Oh yeah, I can imagine. I was talking to a therapist because they always ask my background religiously, and I'm a Greek Orthodox Christian, so I go through confession, which is very similar to therapy. And the priest or the bishop or whoever's hearing the confession can't say anything, about it.
Do you trust that though? Do you trust that?
I'm sorry.
Do you trust that they will
I
not
do.
repeat it?
I do.
Yeah.
I do. I trust that. Yes.
They can if it's something illegal.
Right.
Oh,
Yes. They can. They can. If you say hey, if you say hey, I just
allowed if it's
yeah. If you say hey, I just murdered somebody, they're going to be like, okay, well, we got to report you for this. Sorry.
I had a client that was wanted for murder, and they had the thing on the news. They were like, she's at large. I'm like, dude, she was in my office earlier, so I don't know who you got investigating, but so I encouraged her to turn herself in, and she did. So
yeah, wow.
Yeah, but I'm like, yeah, real like good detective work. She was literally, if you would have followed her car around today, you would have seen her, and she was in my office.
Oh my.
Yeah.
We were talking about that the other day, Herman.
Report that. You're a what's it called? Mandatory.
Yeah, we're a mandatory reporter. For
Mandated.
Yeah.
Yeah. What were we talking about, Jacob? What were you saying?
We were talking about this the other day, that almost all religions have this form of therapy, whether it's auditing in Scientology, or whether it's confession, or whether it's just sitting down and talking to your pastor. Yeah, all of them.
Yeah, they do.
And
definitely.
And I wish that there was more, I guess, expansion of that. Like, for instance, I like the concept of doing the premarital mandatory meeting with the priest or reverend or pastor, but why don't they even do like let's do a 6 months check-in, even if it's to talk about good stuff that each other is doing, or because there's always an adjustment regardless how like great that you get along, and there's good or bad, there's gonna be an adjustment, it's all blending, maybe all this stuff. So I wish that they would or for instance, like my gastric bypass people who have to go to like one therapy appointment and get the go. It's like, well, why don't you? Because I have clients that have had gastric bypass, and they do so much better if they continue therapy along with it. Because there's emotional stuff behind a lot of the binge eating, in my opinion. But sorry to get guys off topic.
No, it's okay. Okay.
I've heard it said that anyone who's married should be in marriage counseling.
I completely agree. Even if it is it's good to praise in front of other people. It's the concept of like the 5 love languages too. Of like sometimes you could have good intentions, but unless you're on the same page, I use the 5 love languages a lot with therapy, and that has a deep like kind of a Christian component too. But you could if they aren't like I have a lot of LGBTQ plus clients that maybe don't like practice or conform to one religion, but you can take the underlining principle of Christianity out of that and still use that concept. As far as like you could have good intentions, but if you're not speaking the language the other person wants to hear, then you're not going to mesh well. If that makes sense. But
my pastor won't marry a couple unless they've done 6 months of counseling with him.
Good.
That's good.
Fantastic.
That's a good thing. That's not a bad thing.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I'd like to see a study to compare the ones that haven't had that and then the ones that have.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I also think couples should take the sanctity of marriage out of it, because I do think those trials and tribulations that you're going to go through in a relationship are the tests that you need to see if it's going to be a lasting experience or not. Like, there's only so much. It's just like a baby. There's only so much you can prepare for it. You can take a parenting class before you have a baby, but you're not going to figure it all out.
People say your lives will change, but you don't know until you have a baby. Yeah, exactly. Well, that, and I think too, like, even, there's also, people fight, but do you learn how to fight fair, like in a class at school? No. Do you learn how to fight fair from your parents? No, I know I didn't, so like that's
I think you do. I think you do in trained fighting. I do think there is something to that where people do not want you using your violence in the wrong way. I think people that are actually
not
trained
even
in
that,
martial
but
art,
verbally fighting fair. So like no name calling. Like there's the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse, which is like the 4 things that if you do these things, it's going to kill the conversation. It's really going to destroy a relationship. So like holding people contempt. So like, oh, you're going to go cry because that's what you do. You cry, like or name calling, stonewalling, ignoring the silent treatment, or criticism, you know. So it's like, rather than pointing out like the behavior, or the like calling names and point out the behavior, like rather than saying you're lazy, saying like, you know, when you don't do the dishes, it makes me feel like you're not really helping, you know.
Yeah. Oh yeah, because there's a way of holding people accountable without actually without making them feel bad intentionally.
Exactly, and
Yeah.
applying things in
I
a
have a
non-aggressive
meme
way.
that I have a meme that reads, "I will match your respect, but stop your disrespect. Don't play with me."
Right, right. But also too, yeah, the destructive. There's so many destructive, you know, like stonewalling and silent treatment. It's the yarn ball of anxiety, because then the other person's guessing like, what did I do? What did I say? They go through like every movement, everything said, because they don't know. It's so anxiety producing. It's like that a yarn ball that's like, you know, going.
Yeah, and real quick, I just
Yeah.
want to bring. Oh, sorry, Jacob. Go ahead.
I was gonna say yeah, but and hopefully you know your partner well enough to know that that's not their style when they're stressed, because some people do close up when they're stressed about something, and it's not necessarily the silent
Right.
treatment, but hopefully you know that person well enough that you're in a relationship that you don't start spiraling thinking it's something else. And
Sure.
yeah, there's a
And a
delicate
time
dance for that.
frame, like kind of is the defining factor. So like it's healthy to say like, let's take 10 minutes and cool down and then come back together and like talk when we're like, you know, so rather than like pushing it under the rug and then not like kind of talking about it at all, or not allowing the other person to like badger too, like, no, we're going to solve this right now. It's like, you have to have that happy medium of like, okay, how do you feel about like an hour? I'm going to take the dog for a walk, come back, let's talk, you know? So, or picking a day to talk about like real stuff, like relationship stuff. Like Fridays are coffee date day, where we, rather than every day bringing up like everything, you know, if that makes sense. This is not supposed to be a relationship podcast, is it?
It's
No,
you know what?
we talk about everything.
Yeah, we talk.
Okay,
Yeah, we really
yeah.
do. We do. We
So
talk about it. We
it's
talk
the
about
kitchen
it.
sink of the kitchen sink podcast.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
One thing I just want to bring it back real quick to, you know, for me, confession versus therapy. And, you know, for me, of course, I have to separate the two because, you know, I'm talking about my sin-related struggles in confession versus, you know, in therapy, I'm talking about maybe how those things will affect me psychologically, mentally, emotionally. So it's kind of, so I have to kind of balance the two. It's not tough to balance. So I haven't been able to find a therapist because I'm you know, my budget is not, you know, I can't fit a therapist into it. Even with my insurance, you know,
Yeah,
$50, $60, you know, I went through Talkspace was one of the things I went through, and it was good, but it was like they would never tell me when they were going to bill me. They just said, okay, out of nowhere, $50. I'm like, well, crap, that $50 could have gone somewhere else.
That's
one
hard.
of the biggest issues when it comes to wanting to find help.
Yep.
Is having the access to it, whether it's financially or through insurance.
Right.
Or
And
whatever.
certain insurance companies value behavioral health treatment better than other insurance companies too. You know,
No, I
so
mean,
it's
like
Always had a
examples.
negative experience. That's how come I don't go to any type of therapist. All medication they've done for me is try to change the way I think, and that was number one way back whenever I was a teenager. You're not going to change the way I think, no matter what.
Your thoughts might not be the problem. It might be your environment, and it might, you know, it might be something else. Yeah.
Yeah, no, and unfortunately, you know, like I'll give an example. One of my uncles, you know, he was jumping through hoops and going through all the red tape to try to find someone to be a consistent therapist or counselor. But he had him like almost claim that he was suicidal.
Oh yeah,
Just
it's jumping through hoops
you know,
yeah,
like
exactly.
you're like, oh well, you have to go through this process, and then you have to go through this other process.
Yep.
Then you have to do this. He's like, I just want to talk to somebody.
Right.
Yeah.
And I don't know if he's a veteran, but I mean, I do the Give an Hour program. So I agreed to do at least 1 hour every single week for an active combat vet or a formal veteran, because I truly believe that's one of my passions. a lot of veterans don't come to therapy because they don't want things on paper, and I totally understand that. So with me, it's a given hour, so it's pro bono. I don't have to
But
report anything.
yeah, and even for, even for non-vets, he's not a vet, but like he's had anxiety and
And he's
anger
still
issues,
struggling. Right.
and,
Right.
throughout his life. And I think he went on medication for a little bit, and then he finally found a therapist that he liked. It was like
Yep.
every 6 months, that person would end up leaving or
Aw.
switching out. And he's like, I just need someone consistent that I can
Exactly.
reach
Because
out to. I need someone like, and as far as trying to get his medication or whatever adjusted or refilled or whatever, again, it's just, you get to the point where you're like, I'm not even gonna bother.
Right, or they're not aligned. So it's like if you're providing a medication, but they're not getting like. That's why I like when there's a
Yeah,
psychiatrist on
and
site.
then like depending on your level of insurance, they give you a certain amount of some insurances
So
doesn't
many
even
sessions.
right.
Yeah. Right. Hey, tell them to come
And
to
like
jail. We can. Everybody gets treatment there. I'm just
There we
kidding.
go.
yeah, no, that's the other thing is like some of my family members, I try not to get too upset about certain things, but I get it that like they're like I have to be homeless, this or that,
Yeah.
in order to get all the help.
Yep.
It's a
I mean, it's same with children's services. I mean, I had a kid that his grandma threatened to kill him and had a knife out, and the children's services said, "Well, did they leave a mark? Did his his
right.
grandma leave a mark?" And I said, "No," and he said, "Well, sorry, we can't really do anything about that." I'm like, "Okay, so if he would have nicked him a little bit, or she would have nicked him a little bit, we could have gotten him in like some kind of program to get him out of this house." You know, I'm like, I'd almost rather
Right.
him get a little bit hurt so we could do something
No,
about
but
this.
like
But
luckily for me, I'm very self-aware that when I'm feeling like I don't really,
mhm.
other than my internet family, I don't have a social life.
Yeah.
And I'm one that goes to work and I go home. And when I'm home, I'm usually
Mhm.
taking care of my mother or trying to figure out my own crap. And
Yeah.
I realized through watching videos and whatever that I possibly do have ADHD. I've dealt with depression, anxiety off and on most of my life. I don't think I
Right.
was officially diagnosed with
Wait.
ADHD, but
Yeah.
I've
Well.
had like I've well, I do like, and now that I'm 48, I'm in the middle of premenopause and
Mhm.
finding out through videos again that some of the same symptoms like depression and anxiety and fogginess and being lethargic
Right.
and
Well, sometimes that's caregiver fatigue, April, too.
yeah,
It's definitely hard.
I've always been I've been a
Mhm.
caretaker to some extent since I was 14 years old.
Yep.
So
I'm gonna say,
So, and
April, I've been talking,
yeah.
April, I've been talking to you for the last 3 years and telling you to stop filling other people's cups when yours is empty.
Well, you
yeah,
have to put the mask on if the
when you've been
airplane's going down.
but when you've been conditioned at a young age, that's a hard thing to come out of. Like
Oh, I know.
I know I need to take care of myself, and I do the best that I can. But I also beat myself up a lot because, like, an example is the last week I've been wanting to really focus on, making better pictures of my artwork and really trying to sit down and focus on making prints of my art and how to sell it properly or whatever. And instead, well, I'm like, don't beat yourself because you're still productive. I,
Right, but
I
that might be the ADHD setting in where you get mad at yourself. Like, why couldn't I
right,
get this done? And then
right,
then the depression starts. It's all kind of connected. It's like this endless
right. Like
cycle.
and instead,
Yeah.
I did necessary cleaning that needed to be done in the house. I was trying to be more focused on helping my mother throughout her anxiety and her issues
Right.
while still dealing with my own. But like,
But
and
you
I've
have to break stuff up too. If I get
yeah,
this little part done, then if I feel good, I'm on a roll. For instance, like filing papers
right.
sucks. So if I can do
Because
10 a
like
day, I'll get that pile down.
yeah, like I can get and I know hyperfocus is an ADHD thing as well.
Oh, I hyperfocus like a mofo. Like
Yeah.
I can excessively focus on what I want.
I
should be doing other stuff right now.
like granted,
yeah, like work stuff. But no, here I am.
between me, my mother, and my brother, we can go weeks without like washing the floor.
Well, it's just,
Yeah.
and that's me. I can excessively clean to avoid sitting down and having to type something up. So I love cleaning. I love vacuuming. I love all that stuff. But then, too, the procrastination is so intense, and then you get mad at yourself, which causes that anxiety, which causes, some of the
and then for
anxiety.
me, I get stuck in my head, with the time, like. Yeah, I freeze. I go, I want to do the A, B, C, D, and E, and then I go,
right.
which one
It's
should
overwhelming.
I do first? Should I do this? And then, of course, now that we have social media and whatever, I get distracted for 5 hours, and I go, you didn't do shit all day.
Which sometimes you could use it as a reward. Like I can listen to this podcast.
Yeah,
and then doing this.
And then midnight rolls around, and I get on the live stream, and I do my art for 3 hours.
right. I'm the same way.
Listen, I go, I didn't do shit all day, but I'm gonna relax now and draw.
Right. So you don't feel like yeah.
TD, I got a question.
Oh, sure. I have an answer.
I have one.
I hope you.
What are your insurance companies? I'll bill you guys. No, I'm just kidding.
How do you feel about people staying in their emotions too long?
Well, it depends. We all have different coping mechanisms and coping styles. So, I mean, I think if you're suppressing emotions, a lot of times it's like pushing a balloon underwater. You push it. Eventually, when you let it go, what's it going to do? It's going to pop up. It's going to explode, So I think you need an outlet, but it doesn't necessarily have to be just a therapy outlet. It needs to be like, for instance, I teach hip hop dance fitness. I say, so I don't murder, So it's like that. I do adult kickball. I like to move and like be active. So that's the H in me. But if you don't have an outlet in some way, shape or form, a healthy outlet, not like gambling or excessive shopping or something, then what you have to find those in order to process things or manifest in some way. And not everything has to be always processed. We all grieve differently. We all handle stress and conflict differently. But if you don't have that, and I think it's an interpersonal like intelligence too. Like April said, she knows herself well. That's an intelligence, and that's a whole different. We have 9 different intelligence categories, and interpersonal is one, and intrapersonal, understanding others is one, understanding yourself is one. So if you or if you feel like, okay, I feel like I'm going to crawl out of my skin if I don't do something, and then you start doing golf, and then you're like, wow, this is awesome. I'm doing something social. I'm getting out in vitamin nature. I'm like doing sports. I'm actually pretty good at it. Something, and that's just one example. You don't have to play golf, but
I was wondering. I might have phrased it wrong. When I say being in your emotions, allowing yourself to be a victim on a public level and living in your victimhood is what I mean.
Yeah, sometimes that definitely is a step. I mean, my whole channel kind of parodies this one woman because she's so freaking ridiculous, but she was on Love After Lockup a couple episodes, but she is constantly, I mean, it's been 4 years since she's claimed, and we don't believe her claims because she lies. She's a poor historian, let's put it that way. But she's constantly like, I've been bludgeoned, I've been beaten, I've been like illegally evicted. No, she wasn't legally evicted. She lives in a tent because she chose not to get a job. But so that's an example of like, okay, you can hold on to the victim mentality for, if you want to for a while, but then what are your stages of change? Like, what are you going to do to stop this? Because she just lost her baby. And it's like, she's like, oh, well, they took it away. No, what'd you do to cause that baby not to be able to go back to the tent with you in Chicago in the winter? You know what I mean? So it's like, sure, I think sometimes, yeah, if you hyper focus on that, but then you have to have the process. And that's what therapy is good for, the accountability of like, okay, what are we going to do about it? So that's just how I feel. But
I have a cousin that is always in the stage of flight or
like hypervigilant,
fight or flight. Yeah, where like she's consistently stressed about something, and I know she has past traumas that she's never dealt with, and it affects relationships. Like she almost lost probably the best person in as far as relationship that she's probably ever had because she had one of her moments where she vented out, but in her venting out, she tends to belittle and berate the people
Yes.
that are closest to them, and
Mhm.
brings up every little thing that's wrong with them or how it's
So
affecting
that's
her.
cherry picking. That's cherry picking for
Yeah,
sure. Where it's, yeah, and that's
yeah,
that the Four
and
Horsemen. That's the criticism part of like, okay, you can't take that back. Once you throw that out in the universe, that person.
yeah,
When you say
because
things that are so hurtful, they're scars.
or like when it comes to her medical issues, like
Mhm.
she and I understand because I'm kind of the same way in the sense of like, you could probably find a better job or you can find something else, but you feel like you're stuck where you are.
Absolutely,
Right?
and that's the thing. Like you have to read, you have to assess yourself too, and say like, okay, what is in my
Yeah,
control? It's like external locus of control.
yeah,
What can
no.
I
So I
control? What
mean,
can I not? Because trauma, you have to deal with it. You have to process it in order to move
Yeah.
right?
forward.
No,
You can't go. You get stuck in it, and that's
yeah,
stuck in it is like substance abuse or behavioral addiction or something. You have
no.
to go.
If for
You can't go
me,
around it. You got
like
to go through it.
my process. Yeah, for me, my processes are my creativity, whether it's
Good.
drawing, I'm writing.
Some
I
kind of
try,
artistic.
I try to use my
Yeah.
faith. I try to find meditation. I even got into learning about different herbs and foods to help with,
Good.
whether it's
Like power
mental or
foods, superfoods.
yeah, like
Yeah.
whether it's lion's mane for focus and whatever, or certain herbs to help with blood pressure and other things.
Right.
My cousin, on the other
Mhm.
hand, you know, like I try to go as natural as I can. One, because I don't completely trust um the medical
Yeah.
field. They throw a
Yeah.
pill. Like I'm someone that believes you throw a pill at everything, and half the time it doesn't work, or
I mean, interrupt.
it
Can you
causes
tell
something
me what's
else,
wrong
and
with her
that's a
husband?
whole
Thank
other.
you.
Mhm.
That's a whole
My
other. That's a
yeah.
whole other thing.
My theory
But
is
wait,
straight from the
my
earth first, but then don't allow yourself to close yourself off to things that are able, like take advantage in a good way of things that are
right,
able to help you. So if you can do it straight
yeah,
from the earth first for nutrition, for meds, anything at
yeah,
all,
no,
sure.
but
Yeah.
and granted, I'm not the health. I'm definitely not the healthiest person. Yeah, I try to be, but I'm definitely not the healthiest person. Like I still I'm
Right.
off and on with soda. I try. We
The
do
sugar,
take out
yeah.
at least twice a week. But I do try to eat healthy, whatever. Both my cousin, both of us found out that we were diabetic right around the same time. But
Hmm.
the different, like I said, I try to go the natural route, and she believes
Sure.
wholeheartedly in whatever the doctors tell her. And
Hmm.
I said, but if you don't change other things in your life, nothing's gonna get better. And
Right. Nothing changes
recently,
till
she
something
found
changes.
out that not to put her stuff out there.
Yeah.
She
I have a
found
vault.
out that she may have, you know, you know, and like I said,
Hmm.
she's constantly
Thank you.
high stress.
Yeah. And
She
that
works at
that's where
work. She works
spirituality,
at
Herman
an
can
airport,
vouch for
which is
that.
high.
Comes in. Yeah, I mean, Herman, you can vouch for
Yeah,
that. How
Yeah.
spirituality
you
and
know,
being a member of a church like can help with that stress. You have
It
an
does.
outlet. Meditation, prayer is meditation.
yeah.
Or
Yeah.
yeah,
The
or being a
problem with
supportive
her
support
is
group.
that her. Yeah, and unfortunately for her, she works
Mhm.
practically 7 days a week most of the time.
You have that
She's
balance.
barely sleeping,
Hmm.
and then she's found out she's got other more severe medical issues
Hmm.
coming up. And she's terrified on what they found in recent
Right,
tests.
right. You just
And
have to
I
take
was
it one
like,
step
I
at a
go,
time.
if you start making some natural lifestyle changes now, by the time you go to the appointment for them to assess you, you might
Hmm.
actually improve something.
So, but she might be an
But
idea squasher. You can tell her all
she,
you want, but she might say, "Oh, that's not going to work. That's not fair." There's
yeah,
people like that too. That's like, no, no, no. They're very like
yeah,
kind of rigid with their
no,
thinking. So,
and that's her. It's like you could tell her everything under the sun, but she's
hmm.
gonna stay in that state of panic, in that
Hmm.
state of anxiety,
So then you have to set boundaries
and
so you don't allow
continue
that
to
to
do
infiltrate your anxiety. You know, you have to set
it. Right?
boundaries.
No, I know
Yeah.
that I've had to learn multiple times. Where like I'm gonna give you the suggestions, and then I have to back off.
Or you could ask her
And so
open-ended questions,
because
such as this is called an interview.
yeah,
Oh, interview. helping, then you say like, well, what's helped you before, or what do you think might help you now? So
Yeah,
asking her those questions. Yeah.
Well, and
yeah.
that
And
was a
So,
one
good
was
boss man,
equivalency. It was a
hold
good
on, Jake.
equivalency with the religious group. But any kind of community you can get around somebody would help them a little bit more. It's just,
Absolutely.
any kind of level you can help them with.
Yeah.
yeah. Unfortunately for her, she has, like you said, she kind of like she's not gonna listen to anyone. Like even her husband's tried to tried to say, let's work on this together. How can I help you? And
That's when you have
she,
to take a step back. You have to just
yeah,
say, okay, what's helped you before? I'm here if you need me, but I've got 5 minutes to talk, and that's it. You've got to set boundaries.
right. No, because like even her husband sees what she does, because she's also to soothe herself. She's an impulsive spender. So like
Yeah.
he sees what she buys and
So
she gets
shopping,
frustrated.
shopping is her addiction.
Yeah.
All right.
No,
So,
and
boss man has a quick question.
yeah.
I was, and I should have asked it before Jacob spoke last. Um, and all your years of practice, can you say that you have ever talked to anyone who is 54 years old and has been suicidal since they were 5?
Oh, absolutely.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah.
49 years?
Oh yeah, I've had a client. I had a client that was being sexually abused by her stepdad for 13 years of her, from the ages 4 to, I think, or almost like 4 to 18. Yeah, 16 or no, 4 to 18 or something like that, and had a lot of trauma and definitely felt suicidal from the time she started getting abused until she's in her 50s now.
Yeah. Well,
So
that's
yeah,
me. I'm that way too. I wasn't sexually abused, but
yeah, but you have trauma. So, yeah.
yeah.
And sometimes, I mean, it's normal to sometimes think. I'm not saying it's normal to feel like to be absolutely suicidal, but it's normal to feel like if I wasn't here, things would be easier. You know, sometimes it's normal to feel that's like a hopeless feeling, but it's when you know how you would do it, and you will start giving things away and start planning. That's when you really need to be aware and tell people. That's the other thing too. Secrets keep you sick. You have to tell people, no matter
Yeah.
how uncomfortable it is, because it's not you didn't ask to feel that way. Feel that way. So that's how
And
I feel.
what's so funny about it is my insurance is a very big company, and sometimes I'll have to go to different facilities for different things.
They
And
go through your history all over again. Like,
they always ask you questions, and they say, "Are you suicidal?" And I have to mark yes, but
mhm,
I don't have a plan, So
right? Do
they
they do
always
the gasp like,
they always
and
they
you're like,
always
you're making
rush
it worse.
me. They always rush someone out to get me out of the waiting room and call me back, and I'm just laughing. I'm like,
Yeah,
you don't need to worry. It's
exactly. And you're like, I'm telling you about it because people that don't want to actually fall through with it don't tell
yeah,
people about it because they don't want someone to stop them. So,
yeah.
but that's
I'm
the
like,
thing
I
is,
have to be honest about it, but yeah, you don't need to
yeah,
worry. My
right, right.
psychiatrist knows about it.
So my first experience with the macadamia hut doctors was I was 11 years old. I was transferred to the adult ward after 4 days of being in the kids side,
At 11?
and
Oh my
and
God.
by the time the 20th day rolled around, my psychiatrist told me this exact phrase: "You're homicidal and suicidal, but you're getting out tomorrow because your insurance has ran out."
Yep. I mean, yeah, that's actually very common. I eating disorder people only get like 20 some days of treatment. It doesn't matter if they're on a feeding tube or not. Sorry, you got to go. And then then insurance company's going to have a lot more costs because they're going to continue this because you didn't approve like 40 more days or something. So it's
But
very
that was
infuriating.
the craziest thing. I was 11 after 4 days of being in the
And he told
adolescent
you
ward.
that.
I got transferred to the adult ward. 3 years later, go back to the same hospital. I'm not 18, but I'm in the adult ward, allowed to chain smoke cigarettes. How does
That's
all this work at the
crazy.
same time?
Yeah, I don't believe in that. It's same thing with kids going to like being tried as adults or something, or going to adult prisons when they're juvies. I mean, the one school shooter in Michigan, I think, is an adult. Like, how do you think he's gonna adjust in there? It's like that's where your social workers or whoever it was should have connected you to resources outside of there that you could have extended your treatment rather than saying, and who tells a kid too, insurance? Kids don't understand insurance. They're like, probably like, what's that? But
I was forced to grow up at 14. My parents passed away in my 14th year. I became an adult at
yeah.
15.
Did you go to foster care?
Honestly, I've had to walk, ma'am.
Did you go to foster care?
I lived with a friend of the family until I turned 18 because that's the thing. To my understanding, they made it so that they couldn't name me specifically anything. I went from ADD to ADHD to dysthymia, and whenever
Right.
schizoaffective hit the market, I was like, that was me, because I'm not frantic. I don't have panic attacks.
Exactly.
I
They
know
put you
that
under
this
the
isn't
umbrella. It's like this little umbrella. Like, where
I
can we
don't
stick
have
them?
panic attacks. I understand reality enough to adapt to survive within it, and that's literally what schizoaffective I was told what it means.
Right. Yeah.
So,
it's kind of like not fully meets the criteria for schizophrenia, but might have a little bit of distorted or delusions or paranoia or something like that. That's basically what it is.
Hey,
it's basically a
it's
way to
not my
code things
fault.
to get paid for.
It's not my fault they don't understand how reality technically works through science.
True.
And I'm told that I'm an imbecile because I can look at you in the face and prove that God doesn't exist. But they don't want to accept that. So
that's the thing. Nobody knows the truth. I mean, but I mean, of some things can't be measured. Some things can't,
Yeah, it just blows people's fucking mind. And if you sit here and actually try to explain it to them, it's just going to make the situation worse.
Right.
That's all it does.
But I mean, it's the same even with believing and having that extreme belief and faith. And sometimes you can't prove it, but you know that it's there, and you are comforted by that. So it's the same either way. Yeah.
And whenever they look at my records and realize that I've been 68 minutes, they're like, I don't know what else to tell you, man.
See, that's where I have a firm belief in God, because that's the only reason I can even perceive that you would be here. You know what I mean? Like, that's where my faith in God does kick in. It's like, well, there's only one way to describe that, and that's a miracle from God.
I know that God exists because I've experienced Him, and I've been instantly healed during prayer.
Yeah, absolutely. I have done the same. Absolutely. Yep.
My personal saying that I use that I've got from a meme is, I came to spirituality whenever my life was broken. I stayed because why the fuck would anybody turn down superpowers?
Yeah.
I literally have a split spinal column. 3 doctors, X-ray proven, but I can walk.
Wow.
I'm not a quadriplegic. I can walk.
You are so lucky. Yeah.
This is what I'm talking about. This is the difference between faith or belief and knowledge.
Right.
That's the difference. That's the pure and simple difference.
Right. And sometimes
all these characters these people are giving power to with their worship are mere tulpas, and they only exist because of your ancestors' belief, and all you're doing is fueling their existence. When I say God doesn't exist, that's what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about
but you can still
source.
think that something exists that you can't even
I'm not talking
explain.
about source, the 10th dimensional being that we are within, that we are merely a nerve ending inside of their brain of.
Right. And we're too powerful of souls not to have something guiding us somewhere, whatever that is.
It's all about a matter of a scale of size. And if you zoom out far enough, you see the local supercluster, which it has a specific name, but I can't remember it. And that's as far as we've been able to prove exists. We don't know what's beyond the 40 billion year line.
No. I mean, we can't measure love, but we know it's there, We can't measure it, but we know it exists and it's there. Most of us have experienced it. So just because something can't be measured doesn't mean it doesn't exist,
If you said love, I've seen what my love does, and I refuse to use it.
Right. And that's your perception, and that's your own truth. Right. but
a lot of my knowledge is anecdotal knowledge that I've given to other people. They've tested it, and it has also worked.
Right.
So I don't know what else to tell you guys.
Right. Well, also AA is based upon a model of a higher being, and it works. We know that there are stats that it works, For some people, not everybody, but it's based upon.
I'm not a belief person. Has been my problem since I was 7.
I'm a critical
I can't just
thinker.
simply believe something.
Right, right. I mean, I went to church twice a week, and my parents never went. They dropped me off. I got confirmed on my own. You know what I mean? Like, so I wasn't like guided into spirituality and my faith. I just kind of decided to go, and my parents were like, "Sure, yeah, why not?" You know. So they. I remember my dad saying
I'm
when I
just
got
saying I've seen it. I've seen it, and I can't devote myself to humans that wrote books 30,000 years ago. That's all I'm
Right.
saying by I've been dead for 68
Well, a
minutes.
lot of
That's
things
what
are
I mean.
interpreted, which is your own perception.
You can't say this shit in words. It's all I can
Right.
try to explain to you. You cannot
Right.
understand the overwhelming, overfathoming level of grace and bliss that you will embrace after you have
Right.
gone through your punishment, no matter how long it is, because you as a human cannot fathom the time span of eternity, let alone a single tick of it.
Sure, right. And there's a really good series with Morgan Freeman called something about God, but it's I don't know if you guys have seen it. I think it's on either Hulu or it might have been Netflix or something, but it was about people who experienced near death and they had their own different everybody's was different, but it was so powerful and
What was the name of it?
it's something about God, but it's with Morgan Freeman. He actually hosts it and travels around the world. Let me look it up on my laptop. I'll check. Hold on.
Oh, okay.
Because it's really powerful. It's definitely like
I
profound.
don't remember if it's the God particle or something like that. Or
Something about like
Is it called Beyond Death?
Yes, I think so. Yes.
You're
It is
welcome.
so good. Thank you. Yeah. It's really, really powerful, though.
I just threw my 2 ducks out there and they came back. That was the answer they gave me.
Okay, so yeah, so A-Love says it was on Netflix. Yeah. Awesome. It's so good though. It's very heavy though, so I would suggest like watching it in small doses. It's not like a binge.
I didn't mean to hurt anybody in your audience, Jacob. I was just having a conversation with a therapist.
Yeah, you're fine, sir. No, you're fine.
I don't think it was.
You're fine. No.
You know I'm an extremist, Jacob.
No, you're fine.
No.
You're good.
It's like your own
You're good.
perception's your own truth, and we all have different perspectives, and that's okay.
Yes, we are all the center of our perceptional universe,
Right.
and science has proved this.
Right,
right.
Because like I say in just about every live I'm in, we're just merely sounds and pictures on your devices. That's all we are. Go ahead, boss man. I heard your voice.
Yeah. Sorry, the only thing that I would say to you is what I say to everyone who tells me that they don't believe in God. And I'm not sure that you actually said that, but if that's your belief, then what I say is you better hope you're right.
True.
And that's why I just said I don't do belief, I do knowledge. And I'll use a little statement that I feathered.
Or the Venn diagram of both with that little blended middle part.
Yeah. That's
Well,
that's literally what this is. Oh,
Right.
Let me ask you this.
Faith of a mustard seed can move a mountain. Knowledge of that same mustard seed will move the planet. Somebody else take the floor. Thank you.
Well, how do you believe in the Big Bang and evolution and all that?
Now, the universe is a quadrillion plus a change, this specific cycle, because the centrical, excuse me, hold on, let me pull my tongue out, put it back in. The cylindrical universe has been proven recently at the beginning of this year.
Okay, I'll have to read up on that.
On a seed.
Well,
I always chip out on people that say, "Oh, I believe in the Big Bang," and I say, "Then you have more faith than me."
I'm not saying the Big Bang did not occur. I'm saying that it has occurred many times. I apologize.
Well, I just say that I don't have.
It's almost outside
faith.
of.
I don't have that much faith to believe in the Big
Perception
Bang.
of what we
That everything came from nothing. I just don't have that kind of faith.
Well, and boss man, I think his beliefs are very simple in saying your perception, your perception is the center of your universe. So you worrying about what his perception is doesn't really.
I'm just the voice coming out to your device, boss man. You can tell me to fuck off, and it wouldn't matter what the hell.
I just don't understand. I'm trying to fathom why that would be the boss man's perception is that he needs to worry about where other people
are. We're vibration. We're key.
Why
What
I would worry
frequency
about
we're
what other
vibrating
people
That's what your
strange
light
or
body is. When
Yeah.
you achieve a higher frequency, you create your light body.
because I love everyone, Jacob. That's why.
I've seen it
I
on
know. You can do
Salvia,
that.
and Mary
You
Magdalene
can want the
talks
best
about
for
it.
people.
And Mary Magdalene herb is associated with salvia, and I did it, and I saw my light body. It went out of my body, and I saw a golden orb connected by a golden cord connected to my body. It's crazy.
Isaac, I was actually thinking about you earlier, and I wanted to ask TD a question about it. She's muted right now because of the music in the background. But
It just got so loud. I'm so sorry, but I just.
oh no, you're good.
I
I
was
was
starting
gonna
to dance
ask
to
you. I was gonna ask you about magnet therapy and if you had ever heard of it.
I've heard a little bit about it, and I've been to Sedona too. And so you know about Sedona, right?
I don't.
Okay, so the look it up when you get a chance. But the rocks have this kind of magnetic healing kind of power, and that's why they have a lot of
okay.
it truly feels different when you're there. I can't explain. I lived in Arizona for a couple of years, and I would go there like here and there. But even when I was traveling to Arizona, I remember like I was about to lose my mind because I was driving cross country from Ohio to Arizona. I'm ADHD. I'm like I'm gonna murder if I don't get out of this car and run around for a little bit. But I remember seeing the mesas, and I'm like, holy crap, that's God. And then I saw when I saw the Grand Canyon, I'm like, there's no way to explain this other than God or something spiritual within the God being realm has made this. There's no way that it could just exist like this, So
yeah.
But the magnetic kind of healing power. I mean, magnetic can create a lot of things. Like sometimes it creates like a paranormal effect because it does like a earth shifting. Like lime underneath the earth can like actually move and shift foundation and structure, which feels like paranormal stuff happening, but it's really just like that kind of energy. So I think it possibly, if it's evidence-based, then that means it's been studied, so it could be healing. I'm not sure. Did you try it, or are you going to try it?
Somebody on panel here actually tried it. Well, I don't know if they really voluntarily tried it, but they had magnet treatment done. I don't remember the exact term that they used.
Yeah.
But we had a psychologist on here from UCLA that was talking about it, and Isaac actually got it done to him, who's on panel right now, and he says he hasn't felt the same since it happened.
Wow. Yeah.
I have no more emotion. I have no more spiritual powers. My lucid dreaming went away. I mastered lucid dreaming. It took me 8 years to master it, and it went away. All my esoteric knowledge went away. All my shroom studies went away.
So it like kind of neutralized or erased a lot that you.
It erased my spiritual
It
background.
destroyed. Are you? Oh man!
I'm telling you, bro. You're the first person to react like that. And you're the first person to ever hear me.
Who, me or?
I seen you trying, and that's how come I sent you something,
dude.
Yeah.
You had the best reaction. That was the most real out of every single one.
I've been on top of this. I've been
because
on
I
top of you
understand
for
the
about a few
vibrational.
seconds now.
Everything Mary
I'm like, hey,
Magdalene
yo,
and
are you
Yeshua
paying
were
attention?
about.
Like a few
Everything
seconds
Mary
ago, I was like, are you paying
Magdalene,
attention?
Isaac,
everything Mary Magdalene and Yeshua were about were a vibrational frequency.
Right,
and when they zapped my brain, it went away, and I've never had it back since.
So my theory is if you were able to develop it before, you're able to get it back.
No, but if they fried the hardware and I don't have the hardware to receive it anymore, they might have fucked with that part.
But do you?
What
do you
does
have
the
anything
symbol
you
do
love?
for you?
Do you
I'm
still
not
have
sure.
love?
I'm just saying.
Do you have love for something? An animal?
I know God and Yeshua is higher for sure, so it doesn't matter. But it's definitely like detrimental for sure.
But do you have? I mean, if you feel love, then you are able to feel emotion. You know, we have 130.
I mean, it's difficult. It's more of a choice at this point. But I used to feel it. But now I'm more like 0.02 feel it.
So you need to find something to do to open up your vulnerability again.
I don't know what they did to my chakras, but yeah, they're fucked.
Yeah.
Well, Isaac, you told me you were getting it dialed back in.
Oh yeah,
you
on
were talking
shrooms,
to me about
but
it.
like, why does it take a mushroom to
But
do
that's,
it, though?
but that's what I mean. That's where some of this knowledge comes from that you found before.
Yeah, I've done it my whole life.
Yeah.
Sure.
Well, has that helped you since this?
Yeah, every time I actually reached enlightenment on shrooms before.
Yeah, I mean, that's actually an evidence-based practice now with psychedelics and actually helping with PTSD too. But so I was actually born on Halloween. Every single
Yeah, I
time
saved a guy's life drowning, and that shit gave me PTSD for like 6 months. And it's only been a year.
You saved his life, you said?
Yeah, it was like a 30-meter swim, and I egg beatered him back somehow.
Wow, good for you. My God.
It was insane because I played
Yeah.
water polo and shit.
Nice, nice.
It was like the angels had me there to do it
Yeah,
because they
your
knew I
adrenaline
could
just
do
like
it.
surged. Yeah.
Like he tested himself and was like, "Wait, I better take a step back," and I
Wow,
had
that's
to save
amazing.
this guy. It was crazy.
Huh,
But yeah, I
interesting.
think you missed it. If you would have rebound the stream a little bit, you were having a moment, and I could see you were having a moment. And Kirst picked up on it right away, and he was pointing at the screen, and then he was pointing over at you. And I might have been the only one that caught it, but he was
No, that's what I
gesturing.
was trying to discuss. I'm like, hey,
Yeah.
are you paying attention? You paying
Oh
attention?
yeah, he
Hey.
understood more than most people when I said my vibration's gone.
Yeah.
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 This is my shit, dude. This is like literally my fucking department.
I'm telling you.
Yeah.
I studied lucid dreaming for 8 years. I just started to get it back, and for some reason I got tricked into this shit.
I don't dream. Although whenever I do have a dream, I have absolute control.
Yeah.
Have you
It's
thought
all about
about
subconscious control. Look into the herb Kalia zachichi. It's a drug that only affects your subconscious.
Well, I was going to ask you if you ever looked into ayahuasca
Only
or
your
have done any kind of like other.
I really like a lot of that good shit, but I'm already on this level. I wonder what it'll actually do. People say that they feel the universe. I am already part
If
of
it's
the
not
universe.
broken, why fix it?
The dream herb Kalia zachichi is amazing. I fasted weed for 3 days. I took it in capsules with alcohol to release it faster, and I lucid dreamt in like 45 seconds.
Oh wow! So you do have the ability to again.
This was before.
Okay, but then you still. I have a feeling you can get it back.
So let's just put this into perspective. So when I'm talking the vibrational sequence that I made for like 28 years, 29 years, I had mastered lucid dreaming at some point. And the day they did it, it went away. So get this. I was casting out demons in the name of Yeshua. I was casting out demons in the name of Yeshua like 3 times in a row in a dream. Because I became so lucid, they wanted to mess with my reality and try to distract me from becoming lucid. So then all of a sudden I get tempted by this doctor because I've been in a coma, had a near-death experience already, to get shocked in my brain because they said it would help my memory. I don't get it.
So I mean, electric shock
it's
treatment had the
connected.
same kind of concept.
It's like it's connected.
Interesting.
The 2 dimensions.
So you told the doctors that did this what happened?
Dude, I only thought it was sound, and now I've come to find out after it was frequency, magnetic, and electric, but they only told me it was sound.
That's messed up. That's actually, you might have a lawsuit
crazy.
on your hands.
Dude, I'm telling you, even my mom will testify. She's like, Isaac, I thought it was only sound. We're sorry. We didn't fucking know.
Because sound therapy is great. They have this big egg that you can go in and listen to this music and kind of like meditation with music is very effective.
And I'm telling you, I studied lucid dreaming to try to lucid dream for like 8 years, and I just got it, and all of a sudden I got zapped. Like it's connected.
Well, I know
that's
that
what gets me.
Yeah, I know that when people used to get electric shock treatments, they would sometimes feel like numb, no emotions afterwards, but then it would help them with time. When did you have this done?
A year and a half ago, and I've had a 20-second lucid dream since then only.
Okay, but at least you can though.
20 seconds.
One's better than none.
Let me I
yes,
gotta jump in
I
for
agree.
a second, guys.
And it was since
Cool.
no, it was actually
I'm sorry, what was that?
1 second, guys. We're at the 2-hour mark. I want to give everybody a chance to do some closing statements, but we've been on for a little bit, and we're probably going to actually wrap up.
My phone's going to die.
Isaac, please come back later, or next time you see us on. You're always welcome on here. You know that.
Yeah, of course.
And I do a panel every Saturday, but Isaac, definitely type in the chat then too. Maybe we could have you on and stuff. But
and by the way, TD, I made you a mod on my channel.
Awesome, thank you. Thanks for taking a risk on me and letting me come on.
Oh, hey, you know what? Don't worry about it. I take a risk on everybody.
Thank you. I really appreciate that. So if I could leave you with anything, I really appreciate all of your vulnerability. I really do.
Yeah, thank you so much, TD, for being up here.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks for answering our questions.
No problem. Yeah, definitely.
You didn't have to.
And send the bill to Jacob Waters. Send the bill to this guy over here.
Oh, JACOP. Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, there we go.
Well, I'll see you guys. My phone's going to die, but it was great to meet you. Yes.
TD, without being specific, can you tell us what region of the United States you live in? Like,
I'm in Youngstown, Ohio. So I'm.
Oh, Youngstown. Wow.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
The most corrupt city in Ohio.
Mafia Town. That's it. That's why I'm hardcore. I'm a Scorpio and I grew up in Youngstown. So. All right, but I'll see you guys. My phone's gonna die, so I don't want to abruptly go.
Appreciate it, TD.
So,
nice talking to you.
So great to meet you.
Yeah, take care. Take care, TD.
Bye-bye.
I'll talk to you later.
See ya.
I want to find her page and share it just because I got to get connected with her now.
I just wanted to encourage everyone to catch Herman's show. He's owns a pet monkey and is an organ grinder on the weekends.
How did you know my secret identity, Bossman? How did you find that out? Who told you? Was it Jake Hudson? Damn it. Jake Hudson's watching, by the way. He wants me to call him on the stream. I'm not doing it, so.
He wants Jacob to take his shirt off.
He probably does.
Is that what he said?
You closing this out? You want me to get the fuck out of your house, Jacob?
No,
you're good.
Go ahead with your
you got any closing statements, man? Anything you want to say to the crowd before we take off?
I ain't got shit for you, bro. Just don't take the shit from the tyrannical force above you because they're coming for everything today.
It was nice
if
talking
anybody
to you,
asked,
nice meeting you.
If anybody asked, tell everybody that Kirst got his first psych treatment over on Jacob's channel. And
Herman's channel too. It was here on my channel too.
And Herman.
Talking about that shit, I actually need a certified one to tell me I'm still certified pretty soon. Because I got to go this week down to my boss office.
Got his first therapy lesson, and now the therapist is on suicide watch.
Oh, that's funny.
Biochemists just don't understand me anyway. I just confuse the fuck out of them. That's a doctor for you laymen out there.
Well, toodles, everybody. You got anything to close up with, Herman, Bossman?
Well, I'll let Bossman go first since I'm
I already did, and I encourage everyone to catch your act.
Oh, there we go. Okay. Well,
organ grinder.
I want to be the last one to speak, Jacob, so I'll let you throw stuff out there. Or throw whatever else.
Go ahead, you're good. You're good.
Well, I just put, by the way, everyone, I just posted TD's channel. Now, I know Jacob's going to take his stream down, but I'll have it up so you can see TD's, well, here. Actually, that won't help putting it on the screen. But anyway, I just want to say it was good to be up here. I'm now inspired to start doing more of my mental health advocacy panels that I used to do. I used to do them like at least once a month on YouTube where everyone would come up and tell their story, tell as much as they wanted to tell. There was no restriction on language. There was no restriction on, anything. It was pretty much like, I had to put it as adult, because I didn't want kids to accidentally stumble on it. But like, other than that, I let it go. It was very uncharacteristic of me. If you guys know me, I have way too many rules for my channel, but I'm now inspired to maybe this month start it, and I want TD to come up if she's, I don't know if she's out
April's
there.
April's been on the two that we've done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
I like when we do them. I like.
Or maybe we could do it just as part of just two of us or whatever we're going to do. This, by the way,
whatever. Yeah, it could be its own thing.
Yeah, either way. Yeah. I really like hearing people's stories. I like hearing people, what do they have to say, and I've learned to be less offended by other people's points of view. I used to be like completely offended, but now I'm just like, you know what? If that person has a point of view, that's their truth. That's their life. That's how they live their life. I can't do anything about it. I know what I believe, and that's it. That's all I'm gonna leave you guys with tonight.
Glad Bossman could help.
And Bossman didn't do anything with that, but anyway, no, I'm kidding. All right, mic drop. All right, I'm not leaving yet, but I'm not leaving the panel. But that's all I have to say for now.
I appreciate everybody tuning in and coming on, and hope everybody has a good night.
All right, gentlemen. Later,
everybody.
Later,
skaters.
Sorry, I was deleting my stuff off YouTube.
That's okay. No worries. No worries.
All right. Later, everybody.